Yo, what's going on? Yo, what's going on, man? I got this classic coming up. This classic coming up. Yeah, it's definitely a classic. Uh, yeah, it's definitely a classic. Got this classic coming up. We're gonna go ahead and watch this. He dropped a lot of jewels in there. Actually, he dropped a whole lot of. It's a whole lot of stuff in there that he dropped that may have went over some heads, but it was real good. What's up? Love you too, man. What's up? Welcome to Ain't No Days Off podcast. Ain't no days off. That's right. Yes, sir. You need anything before we get started?
I'm good. You got me some of nature's best. So.
Oh, you already know. You already know that's nature's best. What's your name and where you from?
I am Trevor Balcom, and I'm from a little town called York, South Carolina.
Okay. Can you briefly share your background and how you got involved with drugs?
Oh, absolutely. So at the age of 8, we'll just say sexual traumas in my life, and they diagnosed me ADHD and said I had high anxiety, but the truth was there was some sexual things going on, and I just wasn't telling anybody. So they put me on Adderall at the age of 8 years old, and that was my first experience with learning that something made me feel different.
Okay. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Lewis, the host that do the most, and you're tuned in to Ain't No Days Off podcast. I did 2 takes with Trevor because after going back and rewatching the first interview, I felt like we could have dived a little bit deeper into certain situations that I felt like I rushed through. So he agreed to come back in, and we took our time and we digged a little bit deeper. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube. Ain't No Days Off podcast. But yeah, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So were there any specific events or experiences during your childhood that you believe contributed to your struggles with addiction?
And I would say absolutely, especially the sexual traumas that happened as a young child. Like, when I speak about this, it's not to attack or what that person did. It's always taught and recovery to put it back on myself. And what this is about is the way it made me feel, and the way I felt was disgusted. I felt ashamed. I felt less than, not adequate enough. I would never be man enough. And I spent the rest of my life trying to prove to myself that I was that.
Okay. How old were you?
I was 8 years old.
This is when it happened?
This is when it started happening. It went on for, I would say, a year off and on.
Okay, off and on. Mm-hmm. All right. Can you share your experience of how the sexual abuse impacted your life?
I just think that it was the main thing that my disease gave me every day that fueled my excuses to continue to use, to continue to basically destroy my life. Like I said, it was that thing that I was taking to my grave. It was that thing. It was the thing that made me feel the worst about myself. You know what I
mean? Okay. How have your feelings about the abuse evolved over time?
I would say like now, I don't think about, in recovery and doing the process and like doing steps and stuff like that. What I've learned is like this doesn't cycle through my head. It doesn't. It's not the thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. And that comes from the freedom of doing the process of working the steps.
So you say you don't think about it in the morning. Was there a time where after it happened or while it was happening that you couldn't stop thinking about it?
Oh, absolutely. I would think about it nonstop. It was like it was the one thing it was the one thought that pushed out all of the thoughts.
The constant. Okay. All right. And in what ways do you feel the abuse has influenced your relationship and trust in others?
Well, for my entire life, I put up a wall. Like, like you're not gonna, nobody's gonna hurt me. Nobody's gonna do anything to me. Like I will make sure that I hurt you first, or I will push myself away, or I will make you leave me or not have a relationship with me before I ever get involved, get intimate, get tell somebody who I really am, or share those true feelings, because I just didn't trust that people wanted my best interest, or that they wanted a true relationship from me.
Okay. All right.
I was young, like I was a young child, and I didn't realize, the things that were happening were not bad nor good to me. They were just things that happened, just things that I did, or that we did, me and this person, And as I've gotten older, my mind has changed a lot over what it was or what it wasn't. Could it have been this? Could it have been that? But I know that 8-year-old, I really don't have concept of what any sexual relationship should be like. You know what I mean? Or what a man or woman or whoever should be doing.
How has the abuse affected your self-esteem, and self-image?
I grew up with false ego and false pride. Like on the outside, you thought I was that dude. Like I would make sure that I could fight good, I look good, I smell good, I had the nice shoes, but I felt like garbage on the inside. So I'd always dress up the outside, but on the inside I was miserable, and I didn't like myself at all. I hated myself, and there was a lot of times in my life that I wanted to die.
Yeah. They say you can put lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Have you sought professional help or therapy to address the impact of the abuse?
I've tried therapy and this and that, but what works for me is what I do, the program I work,
Okay.
and talking to people that I have,
Your circle.
My circle. Yes.
People you can talk to in private, and you don't have to worry about it being made public.
Yeah, and don't have to. And the thing is too, in working this recovery program, is even if they do make it public, it doesn't affect me anymore. Like I have trusted my God, and when I think about now, it's like what my God thinks about me, and that's what's most important. So people let you down every day, and you might say something, it might get back to you, but people have character defects as well, and you just gotta meet people where they're at.
Okay. But it's a different when you know who you are today, that changed the dynamics.
Absolutely.
Like when yeah, you got a past life, yeah, you done some things that may not look good, or yeah, you got a past life, but when you reach a point where can't nobody use that against you,
mm-hmm.
you don't unlock. I remember when I first unlocked that level. That's a level of freedom.
It's freedom.
Like people think I got this on you, or I got that. Really don't know you done the work, so you really ain't got nothing on you. You really ain't got nothing. You really ain't got nothing.
That's right, and that's the most important thing. Is like when you're free. What I'm saying is do the work, because once you're freed from it, once you're freed from whatever it is, it doesn't have a hold on you.
Yeah. And that's when you know when it don't got a hold on you. Like some people go to therapy, some people choose recovery, some people choose church. Like whatever you choose, when you reach that point where like my past is my past, you don't unlock that level.
Mm-hmm.
That way, because a lot of stuff hold you back from your full potential.
Absolutely.
But when you unlock that door where you can look somebody dead in the eyes like them, be like, you ain't got nothing on me. What you got? You don't reach the whole nother level, man. All right. So you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right. What steps have you taken to heal and move forward from the abuse?
Definitely trusting in God. Like for me, I'm a big God guy, and like I don't mind sharing that. Like I said, but but like I said, the steps, man, like working steps, man, like it's been the biggest gift to me. And I know when I came, it was like some cliche thing that people said, and I just thought it was like so. I'll just say it. I thought it was stupid. There's no way that this step process is gonna help me be free from past abuses or past traumas or whatever it is. But what it did in doing it is it gave me a change of perception. The way I look at things are different. This might have happened to me, but I'm no longer a victim of the things that happen. You know.
All right. Are there any triggers or situations that still evoke strong emotional responses related to the abuse? Like, is there something like that when you see it or when you hear about it, it takes you back to that day as an 8-year-old boy?
Well, I guess I mean yes, anything to do with a minor child would affect the way that I, you know what I mean, if I see something that has to do with this minor child or this or you know what I mean, like it always makes me think about it, you know, and what I'm saying is I don't think I'll ever not think about it. But the way I think about it, the way I look at it is completely different.
All right. How has the abuse affected your ability to form intimate relationships or engage in sexual activities?
Okay, yeah. So I hate it. Look, this might sound crazy, but I wasn't a big sex guy. Like it made me feel icky. It made me feel it made me have thoughts about other things, other sexual acts that had happened in my life. And so really I would try to, like, if I were to have sex or have sex relations with somebody, I would try to get it done as quick, you know what I mean? And just make it like the short. I hated it. I hated it. But in doing this process and being honest with my circle, and that's also my girlfriend, and telling her things about my life and being able to watch her say, hey, it's no big deal. Like, that's what I needed to open up sex with her.
So it wasn't no intimacy. It wasn't no intimacy. I want to get to know you and all that.
No.
It's like an event.
It was an event.
Okay.
Let's get it over with.
So what support system or resources have been helpful for you in your healing journey?
I guess just once again my circle. Most of all, like my sponsor. You know, I don't have a lot of friends. Lewis is one of them. But my circle is small, and a lot of people don't know a lot about me because I don't share a lot about my actual, you know, things that have happened to me. But I also believe that this is what I'm supposed to do.
So and y'all will hear about this tragedy later on. It's from a previous episode, but like I said, we running this. I'm doing this right here. It's gonna be titled "Unfinished Business," the Trevor Bunkum story, because he talked about some things that I believe can help a lot of people. But instead of slowing down and talking about it like we doing today, we just question. So I wanted to run it back. And one of the things was about the death of your uncle.
Yes, absolutely.
Were y'all close?
Yeah, it's had it on me right there, but R.I.P. Uncle Chuck. But yeah, that was you know, like I said, my father was there, and not that my Uncle Chuck wasn't an addict or an alcoholic. You know, it runs in the family. You know, but I felt like he wanted me around, and he invited me to be a part of his life. You know, and like whether he did drugs or drank or whatever, like he wanted me there. You know what I mean? And and in no means am I bad mouthing my father. These are my truths. These things happen. You know what I mean? I love my dad, but my uncle was my hero. You know, and that might be hard for my father to hear. You know, but and if he could tell the story of the things I did to them as a grown up and active addiction, you know, it might be hard for me to hear. you know. But what I do believe is that in this healing process, also my family is being healed, you know. And me and my father have had some great times now. But yeah, my uncle is was the biggest part of my life that I lost at a young age, and at 9 years old, you know. So like it was these sexual things that, and then it was at 9 years old, my uncle died.
Just back to back trauma.
Back to back. And when I say he died, and I said like I was on the back of the four-wheeler, and I said like he died not even a minute from the house I grew up in, you know. Like I was the last person to speak to him. I got to tell him I loved him, and I realize as a grown man now that God gave me that opportunity, and that He knew that I would need it to get through my life. Because I don't know how I would have went through life if I wouldn't have got to speak to him that last time. He was my best friend.
And how have your feelings about the loss evolved over time? Like I know when you first heard him as a child, 9-year-old child, when you hear about your hero, which was your Uncle Chuck, when you hear he passed, were you able to process it?
Absolutely not. I just wanted to hide, and I did. I spent a lot of times in the woods. I kind of like put myself in a fantasy. Like I would think about him as if he was still just down the hill, you know, like I can't go see him, but he's just down the hill.
Down the hill.
You know what I mean? And I lived in that fantasy for a long
time. So, you know, what emotions do you feel when you think about your Uncle Chuck?
The one I feel the most is happiness.
Happiness?
He made me happy.
He did. So there's no grief?
I'm sad. I get sad when I think about the one I think about the most is like how he made me feel when he was alive. You know, but as I've gotten older, like I think I've grieved my uncle. I'll say I've grieved or this or that, but I miss him every day. I wish I could talk to him every day. You know.
So let's hear one story that you got. Where you and which you let's hear a story.
Oh man. His favorite thing to do was like we would take the four-wheeler and we would go through the we lived on about 15 acres or so, but he would take me through the woods and we would make these trails, and like he would spend time with me. You know, like we would cut the four-wheeler off and he would just ask me how I am, you know, and want to know like what was going on with me, you know. And he would always grab me by my head and give me a nugget and tell me how much he loved me, you know. And like I needed that, you know. What? Go ahead. But you know, those are the experiences. You know, he used to slap box me. You know what I mean? Like he used to. UFC fights were like that was our time. Like, you know, the UFC pay-per-view back when they had the big satellites in the yard. You remember the big satellites? And I would go down there and he would put the pay-per-view on, and me and him would bet money. You know what I mean? At like 7, 8 years old, of course he gave me the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm betting money on who's gonna win. Like those are the times that I think about now. Monster Jam. Every year for my birthday, he took me to the Monster Jam in Charlotte.
Yeah.
It came around February. Every year, my birthday is February 12th. He would take off work. This would be our weekend, you know. And what I was looking forward to the most, sorry, I keep rambling about him, is he always went to NASCAR races. But I wasn't old enough yet because he went to the infield and they partied down, and he had the truck and I never got to make it to that, you know, because he died. And he left a 8-month baby behind, who is now my cousin Cody. who is a grown man. And during my drug addiction, I ruined my relationship with him.
A lot of times, individuals blame themselves when a tragedy such as death happens to someone that's close to them. Was there ever a time that you blamed yourself?
I always wondered, why not me? I don't know if I blame myself, but I always wonder, why, or question my higher power, my God, like, why would you take this man away from his child and this 8 month, old kid? And I, of course, so I would delve into like I think the fantasy was like, I loved him so much that I would have traded places. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I looked up to this guy. Like, I was willing to trade places so that he could be here. That's the impact he had in my life.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot. Why not me?
Why not me?
Yeah. Are there any specific rituals or traditions that you engage in to honor the memory of your loved one?
It's September 2nd, 1999, that's the day he died. I'll never forget it. I try to get to his grave, if I can. If I can't, I'll sit quietly somewhere and I'll just tell him how my life is. I just talk to him as if he's here. And I do that every year on his birthday and on the day he died.
Do you believe he know how your life is right now?
Absolutely. Not a doubt in my mind. I believe that if you believe what I believe, Jesus Christ is my Savior, and that we go to heaven, like, I absolutely believe that he can see what's going
on. Rest in peace, Uncle Chuck.
Rest in peace, Uncle.
Earlier, you said that Uncle Chuck, you need some napkins?
I'm good.
Earlier, you said that Uncle Chuck was your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you looked up to him.
Mm-hmm.
You said he was your hero.
Mm-hmm.
But you also had a father too.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose Uncle Chuck and not your father?
Man, that the way he treated, love you, Dad, but the way he treated my mother, the way he treated us at times, I do love you, Daddy, but it wasn't good, and I was just talking to my mom today about I would feel bad as I got older, how I would be aggressive towards my father, and I would feel bad that my dad would be around, right? And I would go back to my room, or even as an adult now, like, I would go visit my father, and all I'd want to do is leave, because I love my dad. But the last 2 visits I've had with my father since this recovery process, and since like my dad's working on himself and I'm working on myself, have been amazing. I've had the best time. And that's what I told Frida the other day. It's like I finally got what I wanted. I spent the weekend with my dad this weekend, and I had a great time. We hung out, and we argued a little bit. We always do, But I'm just as much a trigger for my father as he is for me. We used together, and just wasn't somebody at that time that I could look up to.
Okay, where it was So you went through all this trauma as a child, and you didn't see there was no like professional help or anything.
Like, they put me in school counseling, and like I said, I had the behavioral health that I got prescribed my Adderall at, and I mean, and I was angry, I didn't care what these people had to say or what they wanted me to talk about. Yeah. They weren't living my life. They didn't know what was going on in my household with my family. They knew nothing, because you know why? Because I wouldn't tell them. You know what I mean? I wasn't willing. What I'm not willing to do as a child, and I don't know, is like I just wasn't willing to break my family up at all costs. It didn't matter to me. Like, it didn't matter how much drinking or drugging or this was happening or that. Like, I love my family. And I wouldn't change it. Like, I believe everything has to happen exactly the way it happens for me to get to exactly where I am right
now. Where are you right
now? Saturday I'll have 9 months clean. I am a productive member of society. Like, I have honor today, loyalty. I'm loving. I'm passionate. Like, I care about other people. Like, today, I am the complete opposite of what I've always been, which was angry, lying, manipulating, sad, depressed, suicidal. Like, today is a complete 180 of my previous past 24 years, 25 years on this earth, and in 9 months, the work is hard, but it's very simple. In 9 months. This is how far God has brought me, and I cry so much now. I think like I'm a little girl, because like I cry because I'm grateful. Grateful, like you said. Sometimes there is no words to express how you feel, and I just cry because I'm grateful. I'm grateful that God picked me and chose me, just like He'll choose you, and He picked me up. And He put me on some solid ground, and He said, if you trust me, I'll help you. He hasn't let me down.
So how do you remain grateful on a daily basis?
Think about, for me, my first prayer is, God, remind me of what it's like to be separated from you. And that's how I remain grateful. Because anything prior to me really seeking a relationship with my higher power was shit. Excuse my language. You can edit it out into it. But it didn't matter if I had got 30 days clean, or I got the job, or I got the car, or the motorcycle, or the watch, or the shoes. None of it mattered, because I was empty inside. And that's the thing, is we're all trying to fill a God-sized hole. And you can't.
And you was talking about that earlier, because we can get the money, we can get the shoes, the houses, the relationship, the family, the bank account. But when you broken, don't none of that stuff really.
It don't matter.
When you broken, don't none of that stuff really matter.
Mm-hmm. It also made me feel. I'll tell you what it did to me. It made me feel more miserable. How can I? All this stuff. How could I get to this point? How could I, and still not be, Like, how, and I'm still not happy.
And the first time we sat down, we talked about you tried to kill yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Commit suicide.
Absolutely.
What was running through your head? If you remember,
I do.
What was running through your head? I think January the 3rd, February the 3rd, when you tried to commit suicide.
And this is it. I can tell you the exact conversation I had with my disease, but the thought was, I want to stop, but I can't. This is just the way I'll be. These are the thoughts that went through my head. I'm not willing to go back to prison. I'm not willing to tell my son I failed again. I'm not willing to put my mama through the hurt and the pain. I'm not willing to destroy Frida's life anymore. I'm not willing to lie to my nieces and nephews and pretend to be somebody. They'll all be better in time. It's going to hurt at first. These are my thoughts. But in time, they'll be okay, and I'll be no longer causing a problem in their life. And on the way to get the dope, I remember telling my disease, I said it out loud. I said, you want to use? This is the last time you'll use.
And I don't know. And when you say you remember telling your disease, you're talking to.
I call it my spiritual disease. It's real to me. Like sin nature, whatever you want to call it, addiction, spiritual disease. There's many paths to recovery. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like the thing inside of me that is different from who's sitting here today is a real thing, and it lives inside of me. It lives in my thoughts. It lies to me constantly.
So you're having this conversation with your addiction disease.
Mm-hmm.
Your addiction is the disease. So you're having this conversation on your way to cop.
On my way to cop.
Had you already contemplated suicide?
Absolutely. I knew what I was going to get. I knew how much I was going to use. I knew what it was going to take, but I did way more than was needed.
And that conscience that we have, you got the addiction on one shoulder,
mm-hmm.
and you have been in recovery, so you got that here. But why didn't the recovery take over and be like, just get back? Or where was that God conscience?
Because my God consciousness was so quenched. Like I didn't hear. Like that's the thing I think about today, and I'm so grateful for, and I cry about it too. Is I couldn't hear God anymore. I didn't hear my God consciousness anymore. All I heard was the lies. All I heard was the negativity. I just wanted to stop, and I was gonna make it stop. Like I thought God, I realized that I turned my back, but I thought God just didn't want anything to do with me. He didn't want to speak to me anymore. He had nothing left to say to me.
So you cop.
Absolutely.
Get back in your
mm-hmm.
vehicle,
mm-hmm.
and you going back to where home.
That's right.
And are you still talking to your disease, or have you made up in your mind what is your disease? What is your mind telling you?
It's funny, right? Because like people say the disease wants you dead, and I believe that's the long-term goal, but mine just wanted me miserable, right? Mine just wanted me at the lowest point and wanted to keep me there. Like, it didn't want me. It might have wanted me dead eventually, but it just wanted me to sit in this and feed off this misery, And I think that that on the way home, I already knew what was happening. I already knew what was going on. So like now the thought that pushes all other thoughts out is how I'm going to make it happen when I get back. And I start planning.
So now you go in the house, you get your stuff together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My roommates were leaving. One was going to Charleston. He had already left, and one was going out for the night. And I put Walking Dead on because the death growl of the zombies, like that they do, and I put it to the part where it was a big long scene, and I turned it up, and then I did what I knew was gonna work. And,
you did a shot.
Yeah, I that's the thing is I snorted a little bit first because I was gonna snort. I was just gonna snort it all. You know what I mean? And then I worked it up and I shot it. And that's the last thing that I remember.
But the last thing you remember.
That's the last thing I remember. Just putting it in.
Jails, institutions, and death.
That's it. And I have now experienced pretty much all three. Now God gave me another chance, and I don't believe I was supposed to come back, except for God. You know, like the story that was told to me, and how many times they Narcan me, and chest compressions, and like you know, and the crazy thing is like it's not important who, but if they didn't show up that night, the ambulance didn't get there till after I was awake.
You just say you weren't supposed to be here. You do supposed to be here. You here?
Yeah. Well, what I mean is like Trevor, my disease of addiction, that Trevor didn't want to be here. And when I woke up, it's not like I had some crazy experience or anything like that. But when I woke up, something inside of me, for the first time in my life, said, I actually wanted to live, because if this is what it brought me to, like if this is where I was at, right? Like, and it's crazy, and it's I call my mom, and I tell my mom what happened, and you know, my mom laughs, and she's not laughing at me, but she laughs, and then she says, I told you God's got you. You can't even kill yourself. She said, there's something better for you.
Legal message.
For real, give yourself a chance, man. Welcome to recovery. The answer is God. And I hope you get there. Whenever you get there, like I hope people in recovery can entertain you. I hope you can have a real experience, you know. And the experience that I had was it wasn't very long. It wasn't a very long period of time, but it was the first time in my life that I felt a glimpse of what it could be. And I've moved forward towards that. And I look back and I see everything along the way that God has done for me. You know, even when I thought God wasn't there, like now I realize, like, those were the times he was there the most. And nothing a human has done to anybody, or any trauma that you've experienced, is like an in factor, you know, like humans are human, you know, and we hold people to a standard that they can't be. Nobody's a God except for God. So you can't hold people to a standard, you know. You got to move past things and focus on positivity, loving, caring, and kind. That's what's been most important for me. And I'm not perfect. I mess up every day with my anger or this and that, but I have something now that I rely on most, and that's God for me.
And thank all of y'all for tuning in to Ain't No Days Off podcast.
Thank y'all, for real. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lewis. I love you, brother. Right. You're amazing.
Man, give yourself a break.
Give yourself a break.
And if you make it to this part of the video, please like, share, follow me on YouTube and TikTok, and have a great whatever part of the day it is. Bye.
Bye.